Welcome back to another episode of Valuable Coins, where we dive deep into the world of numismatics, uncovering the most valuable and unique coins in the market today. If you're a coin enthusiast, collector, or simply interested in the incredible value of rare coins, you're in the right place. In today's video, we will explore two of the most fascinating and expensive United States coins currently circulating the auction market. First up, the Lincoln Wheat Penny is one of the most collected coins in the United States. And today, we are looking closely at the 1920 Wheat Penny, struck at the Philadelphia Mint. This coin carries no mint mark, which is normal for Philadelphia issues. The example we're focusing on is in good condition, and it has some scratches from years of use, which is expected for a coin that has been circulating for more than a century. The wheat penny was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse features a right-facing bust of President Lincoln, while the reverse displays two wheat stalks curving around the words 1 cent. This design lasted until 1958 and became one of the most beloved and recognizable coin types in American numismatics. By 1920, the wheat penny was already familiar to the American people, but the world around it was rapidly changing. The First World War had ended just 2 years earlier, and the United States was entering the 1920s, a decade remembered for both economic growth and cultural transformation. Coins like this 1920 wheat penny were part of daily life, being used for small purchases such as bread, milk, newspapers, or even a trolley ride. Every scratch on this coin is a small reminder of its journey through countless hands in an era now long past. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 310 million pennies in 1920. This was one of the highest mintages of the early wheat penny years, making the 1920 cent fairly common today, especially in circulated grades. Because of this large production, the coin is not rare. However, it still holds strong interest among collectors due to its age, historical context, and as part of the broader wheat penny series. The example we are discussing is in good condition. In coin collecting terms, good condition means the coin has heavy wear, with most fine details worn smooth. On the obverse, Lincoln's portrait is visible but flat, with much of the detail in his hair and coat gone. The lettering around the edges and the date are still readable, though softened by circulation. On the reverse, the wheat stalks are visible but lack definition, appearing mostly as outlines. Add in scratches on the surface, and this coin clearly shows its long service in commerce. So, what is a 1920 Lincoln Wheat Penny without mint mark in good condition with scratches worth in today's market? Typically, these coins are valued at around 25 to 50 cents. Because of the scratches, the example we are describing would likely be closer to the lower end of that range. In very fine condition, a 1920 penny might sell for $1 to $2. Extra fine examples can bring $3 to $5, and about uncirculated pieces may reach up to $10. In mint state, uncirculated grades, values rise significantly, often ranging from $20 to $50. Bright red, uncirculated coins, which are much scarcer, can sell for well over $100 depending on grade. Collectors also look for interesting varieties and errors on coins from 1920. Some examples may show repunched dates or small die cracks, and off-center strikes are occasionally found. While not common, these errors are worth a premium, often selling for several dollars or more depending on rarity and condition. Even though the 1920 penny without a mint mark is not rare, it carries a lot of history. This coin has survived through more than 100 years of American life, from the roaring 1920s to the Great Depression, through World War II, and all the way into our time today. Every mark and scratch is evidence of its journey through a century of use. For collectors, that is part of the charm. It's not just about monetary value. but about owning a piece of history that has witnessed the passage of generations. First up, the Lincoln wheat penny has always held a special place in the hearts of collectors. When it was first introduced in 1909, it immediately became one of the most iconic coins in American history. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it was the first United States coin to feature the portrait of a real person, President Abraham Lincoln, rather than the traditional allegorical figures that had been used for decades. Just 2 years later, in 1911, the Lincoln cent continued its journey into history. Today, we're going to take a closer look at one specific version, the 1911 penny struck in Philadelphia without a mint mark, and explore what makes it valuable in today's coin collecting market. The 1911 penny is part of the early years of the wheat cent series, which ran from 1909 until 1958. This means that every example of this coin you find is well over a century. Old coins of this age automatically attract attention, but age alone does not determine value. Rarity, condition, and collector demand all work together to decide how much a penny like this is worth. In 1911, 3 different mints produced the Lincoln cent: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The coin we are talking about today is from Philadelphia, which is identified by the absence of a mint mark below the date. While Denver and San Francisco had much lower mintages that year, Philadelphia struck over 100 million pennies. This makes the Philadelphia issue the most common of the 3. However, even though it is more available, it can still hold impressive value, especially in higher grades. When a collector evaluates a coin, the first factor they look at is condition. Coins are graded on a scale ranging from heavily circulated to uncirculated mint state. Terms like good, fine, very fine, and extremely fine describe how much wear is visible on the coin. A 1911 penny in good condition, which means it has seen a lot of use, but the date and main details are still readable, usually sells today for around 40 cents to $2. Many examples fall in this range because most of these coins were used in everyday transactions for decades. Still, even $1 or $2 for a coin that cost 1 cent more than 100 years ago is a nice return. As the condition improves, so does the value. Coins in very fine or extremely fine condition, with more detail visible in Lincoln's hair and the wheat stalks on the reverse, can bring anywhere from $5 to $20. When a coin survives in uncirculated condition, meaning it shows no signs of wear and may still have original mint luster, the price jumps significantly. Mint state examples of the 1911 no mint mark penny can range from about $75 up to several hundred depending on the grade. Collectors especially prize coins that still display their original red copper color because over time most pennies darken to a brown tone. The rarer the color and the higher the grade, the higher the value climbs. While most circulated 1911 Philadelphia pennies are worth just a couple of dollars, truly exceptional pieces can bring extraordinary sums. For example, some graded at the highest mint state levels with vibrant red surfaces have sold for thousands of dollars at auction. One especially stunning example, graded MS67 red, once sold for over $20,000. These are, of course, the rarest of the rare, but they prove just how valuable a so-called common coin can become when it is preserved in outstanding condition. For collectors or anyone who finds an old 1911 penny, it is important to handle it carefully. Always hold a coin by its edges to avoid adding new marks. If you suspect you have a high-grade coin, getting it professionally graded by a service like PCGS or NGC is the best way to know its true market value. Certified coins also tend to sell for much more because buyers have confidence in the grade. Next up, the Lincoln wheat penny is one of the most iconic coins in American history, and today we're focusing on a very early issue in this series, the 1917 wheat penny struck at the Philadelphia Mint. This coin carries no mint mark, which is standard for Philadelphia strikes. The example we're looking at is in dirty condition with some scratches, a clear sign of its long journey through circulation over more than a century. The story of the wheat penny begins in 1909, when the United States Mint introduced the coin to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin features a right-facing portrait of Lincoln on the obverse, the first time an actual historical figure appeared on a U.S. coin. The reverse design shows two wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent giving. The coin, its famous nickname, the wheat penny. This design remained in use until 1958 and has become a favorite among coin collectors worldwide. By 1917, the United States was facing major changes. The country had just entered World War I, and millions of Americans were preparing for life at war and at home. A penny at that time still had significant purchasing power. You could buy a newspaper, a stick of gum, or even put together a few cents for a full meal. Coins like this 1917 wheat penny were a vital part of everyday commerce, constantly passing through the hands of workers, soldiers, and families. The Philadelphia Mint struck more than 196 million pennies in 1917. While that sounds like a huge number, many of these coins were heavily used, and surviving examples in high grades are much scarcer today. In lower circulated grades, such as the coin we're discussing, they are relatively common. However, collectors still value them as part of the early wheat penny years. Since coins from this period are now over 100 years old, the coin we are focusing on is in dirty condition with scratches, which lowers its eye appeal. In numismatic terms, this coin would likely fall into a good or perhaps about good category. In this grade, Lincoln's outline is still visible on the obverse, but most of the fine details in his hair and face are completely worn away. The date and lettering are readable, though softened. On the reverse, the wheat stalks are present but flattened, showing very little interior detail. The dirt and scratches on the surface further reduce its collectability, but they also tell a story of its long life in circulation. So, what is a 1917 wheat penny without a mint mark, in dirty condition with scratches, worth in today's market? Generally, these coins in low circulated grades sell for around 20 to 50 cents. Because of the scratches and overall dirty appearance, this particular example would likely be closer to the 20-cent range. In very fine condition, a 1917 penny might sell for $2 to $3. Extra fine examples can bring $4 to $6, and about uncirculated coins may reach $10 to $15. In mint state uncirculated condition, values rise significantly, often selling for $30 to $50 or more, and bright red uncirculated examples can be worth well over $100 depending on grade. Collectors also look for interesting varieties from the 1917 wheat penny. The most famous is the 1917 doubled die obverse, where doubling is visible in the date and lettering. These rare error coins are highly sought after and can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars in higher grades. Unfortunately, most 1917 pennies, including the one we're discussing, are regular strikes without special varieties, but they still hold collectible appeal. Even though the 1917 wheat penny without a mint mark is not especially rare, its age and historical context make it important. This coin has survived through more than a century of American history. From World War I to the Great Depression, through World War II, and all the way to the present day. Every mark and scratch is a reminder of its journey and the countless hands it passed through in everyday commerce. Next up, the Lincoln wheat penny is one of the most popular coins ever produced in the United States, and every date and mint mark tells its own unique story. Today, we are focusing on the 1936 Lincoln wheat penny struck at the Denver Mint, identified by the small D mint mark just below the date. This coin is now almost 90 years old, and although it is not among the rarest issues of the series, still attracts strong collector interest. Understanding its history, mintage, condition, and value in today's market can help reveal why even a common wheat penny continues to be a treasure worth keeping. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The design, created by Victor David Brenner, featured a bold portrait of Lincoln on the obverse and two wheat stalks framing the denomination on the reverse. This wheat reverse would remain on the coin until 1958, making it one of the longest-running and most recognizable coin designs in America. By 1936, the coin had already been circulating for over 25 years, and it had firmly established itself as a favorite among both the public and collectors. The 1936 penny is particularly notable because it was struck in 3 different mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia coins carried no mint mark, the San Francisco coins carried an S, and the Denver coins, like the one we are talking about today, carry a D. In that year, the Denver Mint struck more than 40 million pennies. While this may seem like a lot, it was still a significantly smaller number compared to Philadelphia, which produced hundreds of millions. As a result, the Denver coins are scarcer than their Philadelphia counterparts, though not rare in the broader sense. When collectors assess the value of a 1936 D penny, the first factor they consider is condition. A coin in good condition means it's circulated heavily but still has a readable date, mint mark, and basic design details. Your coin also has some scratches, which further affects its grade and overall appearance. In today's market, a 1936 D wheat penny in good condition with wear and marks generally sells for about 50 cents to $1. While that may not sound like much, it is still many times its original face value of 1 cent, and it represents the lasting historical significance these coins carry. As the condition improves, so does the value. A coin in fine or very fine condition with more detail visible in Lincoln's hair and the wheat stalks on the reverse may sell for $1 to $2. Extremely fine examples may fetch closer to $3 or $4. Once we reach the level of uncirculated coins, the price climbs dramatically. A 1936 D penny in mint state condition, with no signs of wear and possibly still showing its original red copper luster, can sell for $10 to $20. High-end mint state coins graded MS65 or above can reach prices of $100 or more. Truly exceptional red examples at the very top of the grading scale can bring several $100s at auction. The scratches and wear on your coin place it at the lower end of this spectrum. Collectors generally prefer coins that are problem-free with smooth, original surfaces. Even so, every coin tells a story. A circulated penny like this passed through countless hands during the Great Depression era, buying goods, paying for services, and serving as a reminder of Lincoln's enduring legacy. Its worn surfaces are proof of its journey through American history, and that is part of what makes it appealing when considering whether a 1936 D penny might be worth more. The most important step is to evaluate its color and luster. Copper coins naturally change color over time, usually turning from bright red to brown. Collectors pay premiums for coins that retain their original red surfaces. However, for coins in good condition with scratches, the color rarely adds much extra value. In such cases, the coin remains a modest collectible, valued more for its history than for its rarity. For collectors who own a 1936 D penny in higher grades, sending the coin to a professional grading service such as PCGs or NGC is often worthwhile. A certified grade can dramatically increase the value, especially for uncirculated examples. For circulated pieces like yours, grading costs usually exceed the market value, so most collectors simply keep them as part of a larger set or as historical keepsakes. Next up, the Lincoln Wheat Penny is one of the most collected coins in American history. And today we're going to explore the 1953 Wheat Penny struck at the Philadelphia Mint without a mint mark. The example we're looking at is in fine condition, showing clear signs of circulation with some scratches, but still holding historical and collectible appeal. The Wheat Penny series began in 1909, designed by Victor David Brenner to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. This marked the very first time that a real historical figure appeared on a circulating U.S. coin, on the obverse. We see the portrait of Lincoln facing right with the word liberty and the motto "In God We Trust" around him, along with the date. At the lower right, the reverse shows two wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, along with the motto E pluribus unum at the top. This simple yet bold design would remain in use until 1958, making it a favorite among coin collectors. The year 1953 came during the post-war era, when the United States was experiencing economic growth and social change. Pennies were an essential part of daily transactions used in payphones, vending machines, and everyday purchases. Even though inflation was starting to reduce the penny's buying power, it was still an important part of commerce, and billions of them were being produced by the U.S. Mint. In 1953, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 256 million Lincoln Wheat pennies without a mint mark. This high mintage means that the coin is not considered rare, but surviving examples in higher grades are always more desirable. The coin we are discussing is in fine condition. In this grade, Lincoln's portrait remains visible, but the finer details in his hair and coat are worn down. The reverse wheat stalks are still present, but much of their detail has faded. Add to that the scratches and dirt from circulation, and we have a coin that tells the story of its long journey through decades of use. So, how much is a 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny without mint mark worth in fine condition with scratches in today's market? Generally, these coins in lower circulated grades are valued between 5 and 15 cents. The scratches and overall wear place this particular coin on the lower end of that range. In very fine condition, values rise slightly to around 20 cents. Extra fine examples may bring 30 to 50 cents, while about uncirculated coins can sell for $1 to $2. Uncirculated examples in mint state condition can range anywhere from $3 up to $10 or $15, depending on their color and luster. Brilliant red examples graded by professional services can sell for even more, often $30 or higher. For collectors, 1953 is not known for rare varieties, but there are occasional errors that can bring premiums. Examples include off-center strikes, clipped planchettes, or coins with die cracks. While not common, these types of errors are sought after and can be worth a few dollars or more, depending on severity and condition. Even though the 1953 Wheat Penny without mint mark is not especially valuable in fine condition, it remains important as part of the long-running Wheat Penny series. Every collector who builds a full set of Lincoln Wheat Pennies will need the 1953 Philadelphia issue. And many collectors appreciate it as a coin from the early years of the Cold War era. When America was rapidly changing, it's also worth noting that while this particular coin may only be worth a few cents above face value, its sentimental and historical worth is far greater. Think about it, this penny has been around for more than 70 years. It's passed through countless hands, from everyday shoppers to children saving their allowance, and perhaps even collectors who placed it in jars or albums. Next up, the Lincoln Wheat Penny remains one of the most beloved and widely collected coins in American history. It was first introduced in 1909 to mark the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth, and it quickly became a symbol of national pride. The portrait of Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, graced the front of the coin, while the reverse displayed two wheat stalks, framing the denomination 1 cent. This simple but iconic design would endure for nearly 50 years until It was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial Reverse in 1959, among the later wheat pennies. The 1948 issue is one that collectors still seek out today. In this video, we are focusing on the 1948 penny struck in Philadelphia, which is identified by the absence of any mint mark below the date. The Philadelphia Mint produced an enormous number of wheat pennies in 1948. In fact, over 317 million were struck that year, making this coin a very common issue within the series. Unlike some early wheat cents that had much smaller mintages and are now considered scarce or even rare, the 1948 penny is generally easy to find. Its large production numbers mean that even today, collectors can purchase examples without much difficulty. However, just because it is common does not mean it lacks interest or value. The age of the coin, its place in the classic wheat cent series, and above all, its condition all contribute to how much a 1948 penny is worth on today's market. When collectors talk about condition, they are referring to the amount of wear the coin has endured during its time in circulation. It's a coin in fine condition, like the one we are discussing here, has moderate wear. Lincoln's hair details are worn but still visible. His cheek and jaw show flattening, and the lettering and date remain clear. On the reverse, the wheat stalks have lost some of their finer lines, but the major outlines remain. The presence of scratches adds to the wear and lowers overall eye appeal, but the coin is still collectible because it is intact, identifiable, and nearly 80 years old. So what is a 1948 Philadelphia wheat penny worth in today's market when it is in fine condition with some scratches? Typically, such a coin is valued between 5 cents and 25 cents. This is a modest amount, but it reflects the fact that the coin is common and has noticeable wear. For most collectors, a circulated example like this is a starter piece, something to fill a slot in a collection until a higher grade example can be found. If the coin were in better shape, the value would improve. In extremely fine condition, where Lincoln's hair and the wheat lines show much more definition, the value can reach 50 cents or more. Uncirculated examples, those with no signs of wear and possibly still showing original mint luster, are far more desirable. A 1948 penny in mint state condition can sell for $2 to $5, while coins with brilliant red color and high mint state grades can bring $15 to $30. At the very highest levels, certified gems with vibrant red copper surfaces can exceed $100. These prices demonstrate how much condition matters in the world of coin collecting. Even though your coin falls into the lower end of this value range, it still holds significance. It represents a piece of history from the post-World War II era, when the United States was experiencing economic growth and cultural change. Pennies like this one were used daily in shops, diners, and markets across the country. They bought newspapers, candy, and small necessities, serving as a reminder of everyday American life in the late 1940s. Holding a coin like this is like holding a tiny time capsule from that era. Collectors who want to determine the exact value of their 1948 penny should consider a few key factors. First is condition, which we have already discussed. Second is color. Copper coins naturally toned from bright red to brown over time, and collectors pay premiums for those that retain their original red surfaces. Third is whether the coin is certified. Professional grading by companies like PCGs or NGC can authenticate the coin and provide a standardized grade. While this is usually worthwhile for uncirculated coins, it is not cost-effective for circulated examples like yours, since grading fees exceed the coin's market value. In summary, the 1948 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark is a common coin from the Philadelphia Mint, with over 317 million struck. In fine condition with scratches, it is worth between 5 cents and 25 cents on today's market. Better preserved examples rise in value, and mint state red coins can bring significant premiums. While your coin may not be worth a fortune, it is still a fascinating piece of American history, part of the long-running wheat penny series that remains one of the most popular coin collections in the world. Its value lies not just in dollars, but in the story it tells about an earlier time in the United States. Next up, the Lincoln Wheat Penny is one of the most recognizable coins ever produced by the United States Mint. And today, we'll be looking closely at the 1956 wheat penny struck at the Denver Mint. Marked with the letter D, the coin we're focusing on is in very fine condition with some scratches, showing signs of circulation but still retaining enough detail to interest collectors. The wheat penny series began in 1909, introduced to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner. The coin features Lincoln's right-facing portrait on the obverse, surrounded by the words, "In God We Trust," the word liberty, and the date. The reverse shows two wheat stalks on either side of the coin, framing the denomination 1 cent and United States of America, along with the motto, E pluribus unum. This design, simple but powerful, remained in use until 1958. Making the 1956 issue one of the final years of the beloved wheat penny design. In 1956, the Denver Mint produced a massive 1.1 billion wheat pennies. That's right, over a billion coins struck with the D Mint mark. Because of this high mintage, the 1956D is not considered rare, but condition plays a huge role in determining its value. Coins that have survived decades without heavy wear or damage are much more collectible today. The example we're discussing is in very fine condition. In this grade, Lincoln's portrait still shows a fair amount of detail. You can see clear outlines of his hair, facial features, and coat, though they are somewhat worn down. The lettering and date remain bold and easy to read. On the reverse, the wheat stalks are visible, though the finer lines have faded from circulation. The scratches across the coin slightly reduce its eye appeal, but it still stands out as a coin in better than average circulated condition. Now, let's talk about value. In today's market, a 1950-60 Lincoln wheat penny in very fine condition is generally worth between 25 cents and 50 cents. The scratches on this example bring it closer to the lower end of that range. In extra fine condition, values rise to about 75 cents to $1. About uncirculated examples can reach $1 to $2. In uncirculated mint state condition, 1956 D pennies become more desirable, often selling for $3 to $6 depending on the grade. Coins that are certified in bright red mint state, especially at higher grades like MS65 or MS66, can bring much higher prices, sometimes ranging from $20 to well over $100 at auction. Collectors are also interested in error coins from 1956, while not as famous as some other years. There are known double die varieties, off-center strikes, and repunched mint marks. These types of errors can command premiums, sometimes selling for several dollars or more depending on rarity and demand. Checking for these varieties can make even a common 1956 D penny much more valuable, even though the 1956 D wheat penny is not considered rare. It holds great significance for collectors. It represents one of the last issues of the wheat penny series, which ended just 2 years later in 1958 when the Lincoln Memorial design was introduced. For collectors working on a full set of wheat pennies, the 1956D is a necessary piece. And finding one in very fine or better condition is always satisfying, beyond its collectible value. This coin also serves as a time capsule of American history. A penny minted in 1956 has now been around for nearly 70 years, surviving through countless hands, countless pockets, and countless moments in time. From the booming post-war economy to the early years of the Cold War, this coin has been part of daily American life in ways that are easy to overlook today. Next up, the Lincoln Wheat Penny has long been one of the most recognized coins in American history. Introduced in 1909 to honor the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth, this design quickly became a favorite among the public and collectors alike, featuring Lincoln's portrait on the front and 2 wheat stalks on the reverse. The coin was struck for nearly 50 years before being replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. Over those decades, billions of these coins were minted, and many are still found today in collections, drawers, and even loose change. Among them is the 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny. And in this video, we are focusing on the Denver issue, easily identified by the small D mint mark beneath the date. In 1953, the Denver Mint produced an enormous number of pennies, over 700 million in total. With such a large mintage, the 1953D penny is not a rare coin by itself. Unlike some early wheat pennies, which are scarce and command high prices, this coin is generally considered common. However, its age, its connection to the historic wheat penny series, and its condition all influence how much it is worth in today's market. When collectors talk about condition, they are referring to how much wear and tear the coin has experienced. A coin that has circulated heavily, showing scratches, dirt, and fading details, falls into the lower grades of good or about good. A coin that has only light wear and still shows clear design elements would be classified as fine or very fine. Uncirculated coins that show no signs of wear at all, only minor marks from the minting process, are the ones that bring the highest prices. The coin we are discussing here is in dirty condition with scratches. That means it has been handled many times over the years and no longer has the sharp details or attractive appearance that collectors prefer. For a coin like this, the market value is modest. Most 1953D wheat pennies in worn or damaged condition sell for just a few cents above face value, usually somewhere between 5 cents and 25 cents. While this is not a fortune, it is still more than the original purchasing power of 1 cent when the coin was minted. It also shows how collectors value even common coins as part of American numismatic history. If the coin were in slightly better condition, perhaps showing less dirt and fewer scratches, the value could climb higher. Coins in very fine or extremely fine condition might sell for 50 cents to $1. That still isn't a dramatic increase, but it demonstrates the way condition matters. Once we get into the category of uncirculated coins, the price rises further. A typical mint state 1953D penny can sell for $2 to $5. Coins that still display their bright red copper color and have been graded at higher mint state levels, such as MS65 or above, can bring $10 to $20, sometimes more. These premium examples are what most collectors look for when they want to add a 1953D penny to their collection. It is worth remembering that even though the Denver issue is common, there are still exceptional examples that stand out. Coins graded at the very highest levels, showing blazing red luster and virtually no marks, can fetch prices in the hundreds. Such coins are extremely rare because copper darkens over time and because most pennies were used heavily in circulation. For the average collector, however, a typical circulated 1953D penny is worth only a small premium. The scratches and dirt on your coin place it firmly in the lower value category. Collectors tend to avoid damaged coins unless they are rare dates. And since this is a common issue, the demand for low-grade examples is limited. Still, the coin remains an authentic piece of history. It is more than 70 years old, a survivor. From a time when pennies were made of 95% copper and held more tangible value than they do today. Holding one of these coins is like holding a snapshot of mid-20th century America, when they jingled in pockets, paid for candy, newspapers, and bus rides. For anyone who finds a 1953D penny, the best approach is to evaluate its condition. Honestly, If it is dirty and scratched, the value is only a few cents. If it has sharp details and original luster, it may be worth a few dollars. For coins that look especially fresh, professional grading from a service like PCGS or NGC can help establish an accurate market price and make the coin easier to sell. Collectors always pay more for coins that have been authenticated and graded, since it removes doubt about condition and authenticity. Next up, the Lincoln Wheat Penny is one of the most beloved coins in American history. And today, we are focusing on a coin that takes us back nearly a century, the 1934 Lincoln Wheat Penny, struck at the Philadelphia Mint without a mint mark. The example we'll be discussing is in fine condition with some scratches, showing the honest wear of many years in circulation, yet still holding strong collectible value and historical importance. The Wheat Penny series began in 1909, when the United States Mint introduced it to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse features the famous portrait of Lincoln facing right, the first time a real historical figure appeared on an American circulating coin. The reverse carries the simple but powerful image of two wheat stalks surrounding the denomination 1 cent and United States of America, along with the Latin motto E pluribus unum. This design lasted until 1958, when the reverse was changed to the Lincoln Memorial design. The year 1934 was a unique time in U.S. history. America was in the middle of the Great Depression, a period of hardship that affected nearly every household. A penny had real value back then. You could still buy a newspaper, a stick of gum, or combine a few cents to purchase a meal. Coins like this 1934 penny weren't just pocket change. They were a vital part of everyday survival during some of the toughest years in American history. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 219 million wheat pennies in 1934. While this is a high mintage number, not all of these coins survived, and fewer still remain in collectible condition. A coin like the one we're looking at, in fine condition with scratches, is fairly common, but still sought after by collectors who are working to complete a full set of wheat pennies in fine condition. The 1934 wheat penny shows clear wear. On the obverse, Lincoln's portrait is fully visible, but with softened details, especially in his hair and coat. The date and lettering are bold enough to read, though the overall sharpness has faded. On the reverse, the wheat stalks are present, but flattened, with the interior lines mostly worn away. The scratches across the coin lower its eye appeal, but they also tell the story of its long journey through decades of use. Now, let's talk about value. In today's market, a 1934 Lincoln Wheat Penny without mint mark, in fine condition with scratches, is generally worth between 20 cents and 50 cents. The scratches bring this particular example closer to the lower end of that range. In very fine condition, the value rises to around 75 cents to $1. Extra fine coins can bring $1 to $2, while about uncirculated examples may sell for $3 to $5. Uncirculated mint state coins are much more desirable and often fetch between $10 and $30, with higher grade red examples certified by grading companies, reaching even higher prices. Collectors also keep an eye out for error coins from this year. While the 1934 wheat penny is not famous for major varieties, there are occasional doubled dies, die cracks, and off-center strikes that can add significant value. These types of errors are relatively rare but are always exciting to find. Even though the 1934 wheat penny without mint mark isn't considered rare in lower grades, it is highly significant to collectors. It represents a piece of Depression-era history, a coin that was likely used countless times during one of the most challenging economic periods in the United States. For collectors building complete sets, it is an essential date, and higher-grade examples are always in demand. This coin has now been around for nearly 90 years. Think about all the hands it has passed through and the lives it has touched. During that time, From struggling families trying to stretch every penny during the Great Depression to children saving coins in jars. This 1934 wheat penny has played a role in everyday life for generations. Next up, the Lincoln wheat penny is one of the most iconic coins in American history, and every year of its production tells a story. Today, we are looking at the 1958 wheat penny struck at the Philadelphia Mint without a mint mark. This coin is especially significant because it was the very last year of the wheat penny design. After nearly 50 years in circulation, the classic reverse, featuring two wheat stalks, would be retired in 1959 and replaced with the Lincoln Memorial reverse. That alone gives the 1958 penny an important place in American numismatic history, even if it is one of the more common issues of the series. The Philadelphia Mint produced more than 252 million of these coins in 1958. With such a large mintage, the 1958 wheat penny without a mint mark is not considered rare by collectors. However, because it represents the final chapter of the wheat penny era, it still holds a special place in collections. Many collectors who build full wheat penny sets want a high-quality 1958's example to mark the end of the series. This steady demand keeps the coin relevant on today's market, even though so many were minted. Condition is always the most important factor when determining a coin's value. Your 1958 penny is in extra fine condition, which means it's circulated for a while but still retains sharp details. Lincoln's hair, cheek, and jaw remain well defined, and the lettering and date are crisp. The wheat stalks on the reverse still show most of their lines, though the highest points show light wear. The scratches mentioned do lower the eye appeal somewhat, but overall, extra fine is considered a solid collectible grade. So what is a 1958 Philadelphia wheat penny worth in extra fine condition with some scratches on today's market? The value usually ranges from about 10 cents to 50 cents. That may not sound like a lot, but it is still many times its original face value, and it reflects how common this issue is compared to scarcer early dates. Collectors will pay slightly more for clean, problem-free examples, but even with scratches, an extra fine 1958 penny is a nice piece for any collection. If we look at higher grades, the value grows. An uncirculated 1958 wheat penny, showing no signs of wear, can sell for $1 to $3 in typical mint state condition. Coins that retain their original red copper color, graded at MS65 or above, often sell for $10 to $20. At the very highest levels, blazing red gems graded MS67 or higher can command $100 or more. These coins are the exception, carefully preserved since they left the mint. For the average collector, though, circulated examples like yours are much more common. It's worth noting that while the 1958 Philadelphia penny is common, the 1958 D penny from the Denver Mint has a fascinating history because of the famous 1958 double die variety. Those coins are extremely rare and worth thousands of dollars, while your coin is from Philadelphia and not part of that rare error group. Collectors often compare the two when studying the final year of the wheat penny series. The scratches on your coin do affect its market value. Collectors prefer coins with smooth surfaces and original color. Scratches, stains, or other marks lower the price, sometimes cutting it in half compared to a cleaner coin in the same grade. However, since this is a common date, the effect is not dramatic. A scratched, extra-fine 1958 penny may bring closer to 10 or 15 cents rather than 50, but it still holds collectible interest because of its historical importance. When looking at the broader picture, the 1958 penny tells the story of America. In the late 1950s, these coins circulated during the post-war boom. It's a time of rapid economic growth, cultural change, and optimism. People used them every day for bus fares, candy, newspapers, and countless small purchases. The wheat penny design, which had been in pocket since 1909, It's about to give way to a new look that reflected modern America. In this sense, the 1958 penny bridges the gap between two eras, making it a nostalgic keepsake for collectors and history enthusiasts alike. In today's market, the 1958 Philadelphia wheat penny without a mint mark is valued at around 10 to 50 cents in extra fine condition depending on eye appeal. Higher-grade uncirculated coins can sell for a few dollars, while top-end certified red gems can bring hundreds. Even with scratches, your coin remains a genuine piece of history, part of the long-running wheat penny series and a reminder of a design that served the nation for nearly half a century.